This feels a little bit straight to me, but I think I have like a little bit of a bulge there. And then looking at the knuckle here, I don't really see that much of a dent. It almost feels more like a plane there. So I'm just gonna fill that in just a little bit. Let's add a little bit more roundness to the top of that index finger area there. This is just the clay tubes. I don't think... It looks like we've got... we do have some roundness there, but I'm pretty sure there's a like almost two webbings here with a third webbing from the thumb kind of in the middle of it. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll make a little bit of space here. And then I'll use the dam standard to bring that stuff in. And we'll begin to develop some of this finer stuff. Actually, it looks like I didn't quite get that right. So the thumb web here actually terminates right in there. And then whatever we want to call that, like the index palm web, has a shape a little bit more down here. So for these kinds of things, I do actually like to use the dam standard. So we're carving in, and then I'm holding Alt to actually kind of pull up a little bit. So we're trying to keep that form there pretty clean. All right, let's just clean this up. And I think at this point, it's reasonable to add another subdivision. So I'm going to hit Control D. So now I can come in and get kind of a finer level polygons to work with, but I'm still using the same 3 brushes or whatever it is: dam standard, flatten 404, clay tubes, and the move brush. That's pretty much all you need for this kind of stuff, in my opinion. There are some other similar brushes, there's like clay buildup and regular clay, and they're all kind of this, they're similar. There are definitely differences, but like fundamentally speaking, they're not. Like the only difference between clay and clay tubes is clay tubes has the square alpha kind of built into it by default. You could remove it, you just get rid of the square alpha, and then all of a sudden you're basically just using a clay brush. So I'll zoom out a little bit here, and you can kind of see what the result of that is. I'll use the flatten brush here on that ridge, so we still preserve that planar separation between the side of the thumb and the front of the thumb, or I guess the top surface there of the thumb. But it's not quite so geometric looking. All right. So at this point, it would be appropriate to start thinking about these kinds of features, but until I get the rest of the hand kind of cleaned up, I'm gonna hold off. Kind of want to get everything up to this level before thinking too hard about those soft features. And I guess at some point I'm also going to need to come in and figure out how these fingers are going to work with the table, but that's probably going to be like right at the end, once everything else is kind of figured out. So I also want to look at this area here, so I'm going to tap the Z key, and I'm going to zoom in, tap the Z key again, and it looks like we could probably go just a tiny bit thicker with that pinky. specifically out here. Maybe pick that up a little bit. And I have this webbing here that is currently missing. So I'm just using the dam standard, and we'll just basically suggest it into existence. And there may be a situation here where the geometry is not actually working that great. The underlying geometry, no, that should be fine. You basically, if you have like edge flow that's sort of supporting what it is that you're trying to do, you don't really need to worry about it. The solution is to duplicate it and z-remesh the duplicate and then project everything up. And when you z-remesh the duplicate, it will look at the edge flow and try to correct for any situations where your geometry is being asked to do something that needs edge flow support. All right, let's hop back over to this view. So I think I need to actually grab the move brush. I'm going to drop it down a few subdivisions, and we're going to change the orientation just a little bit there. Back to dam standard. Make sure you've got, that might be a little bit too intense. Just feels a little bit on the sharp side, but that's maybe not such a bad thing. It's pretty easy to fix it. So I want to make sure I've got both of these. I'm going to grab this area here. Whoa. And just move it in a little bit. All right. So in this case, clay tubes might not actually be the right thing, because it's just kind of wanting to kind of argue with that spot there. So I'm going to go back to the inflate, because inflate will basically be perfect for this kind of thing, where I had a dam standard stroke, and what I want is for it to be a little bit more standard looking, like a little bit more soft and round. But I like the taper, so we get the taper where we want it from the sort of the default mark of dam standard. So I'm just integrating that in a little bit better with the flatten brush. Starting to get that looking a little bit better. That webbing in there. Okay, and it looks like we're about 8 minutes. So I'm going to stop the video and we will pick this up in the next one.